right, today is the day. I'm finally going to tell you about a little trick that I haven't told very many people about, and it is how to hardware unlock iCloud lock devices. So this is the iCloud unlocking video. At long last, I get asked this question more than anything else. I got a box of devices that I'm going to refurb, and I got the first one working, and these were supposed to be iCloud unlocked, but of course the first one I got working, and I hit restore, and it is iCloud locked. So I'm going to go through the technique that I use to iCloud unlock devices. So let's do it with this phone. This is an iPhone 6, and I just restored it. So it's at the hello window, and if you click through, you'll eventually get to the dreaded iCloud lock screen, and iTunes is recognizing it as activation locked right now. Yep, so there we go, activation lock. I don't know if that's clear or not. Activation lock. And I'll show you this same, it's connected to iTunes, so let's look at the screen. And there we have it. Disconnect, connect. And it is activation locked. Wah, wah, wah. All right, so here's the deal. For a long time, I didn't touch activation locked devices at all. I just didn't want to contribute to laundering devices and things like that. And then I started thinking about it from a recycling perspective. And I kind of thought, maybe I should do this a little bit to just keep devices out of landfills. And then I wondered how to do it. So there's a lot of bad information about iCloud lock out there, and we have a relationship with some folks in China that refurbish things for Apple, and of course Apple's not going to just pitch all of these iCloud locked boards. They are refurbishing them. They are removing the iCloud lock, and I wanted to know how did they do it. So they told me about this crazy technique that I frankly didn't really believe until I started seeing, I think I've only seen like 2 or 3 boards that would come in for some other problem. I could tell they were Apple refurbs because they had this silicone layer of sealant by the CPU shield, and I would open them up to troubleshoot a different problem, and I could see this very obvious mark of the iCloud hardware unlock. And so then I started believing it, and then I tried it, and I was really stunned that that worked. So I will share that with you guys. So let's get this board back out of this phone. So bear with me for a minute. Tools you're going to need are whatever it takes to get the board out of the device, plus you're going to need a Dremel tool, and you're going to need some really, really fine Dremel tool bits like this. These are dental thinness. There's also some kind of micro thinness that we get, these sort of Dremel tool bits here as well. And I don't know, maybe one day we'll start selling these in the iPad rehab shop. I'm not really sure if we're gonna do that or not. I'm not really sure how I feel about iCloud lock in general. All right, let's get this board out. And okay. All right, so here we go. So here's the board. And the first thing you have to do is desolder the shield. And I've done lots of demos of that before. So I go full heat, full air, full heat on my JBC hot air station. One of these days I'll get around to demoing the quick for you guys. And I grab the board with tweezers. Yikes. I grab the board with tweezers, and I try to hold it right over my bench here so that it doesn't really get a big drop like I just did. So I'm gonna hold it like this. Maybe I could do it like here for you guys. And then you just pop off that top shield. It's hard to hold it at that angle, but I kind of want you guys to see this. I also don't really want to destroy my camera. That's a tough angle. Woo! Look at that. That was pretty cool. Alright, so now I've got the board out, and let's look at it under the microscope. Okay, so under the microscope, what I'm looking for is the CPU area itself, so the CPU. Next thing I'm going to do is clean that off with just some alcohol so that we can really see that. So it has some thermal paste on it that you need to remove. All right, now you guys have probably seen some similar videos from China where I think this idea of drilling into the SD-RAM kind of got started. Maybe because of this technique, I'm not really sure. But you can clearly see the A8 that's printed on the processor here, and then you can see this Apple etched on here. So this is the part of the secure enclave that controls the iCloud information. So what we're going to do is we're going to very precisely drill that out, and that is the secret. All right, so let's look at that. It's a little bit hard to see, but that's what we're going to try to do. So I'm going to set up my Dremel tool. With a really fine dental bit, just like I showed you guys. So this is me putting into the Dremel tool a tiny, tiny bit. And then we're going to just go for it. All right, so back under the microscope, let's drill that puppy out. All right, let me see if I can get the right angle. All right, see how tiny and detailed that is? You want to try to keep it as exact as possible to the apple shape as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want to go too crazy. Let me get that in focus for you. There we go. There we go. You don't really want to go much deeper than that. Now I'm kind of changing my technique, and I'm holding it with two hands so that I can get that really precise control. Let me get this in focus so that you can see exactly what this looks like. Right, so now I'm really kind of getting at that final pass. There. All right, see how I drilled through? Let me turn this off. All right, see how I drilled through that first copper layer? That's where I want to stop. I drilled, see the layers that I drilled through? I drilled through that first copper layer. This, let me see if I can clean this off. There we go. And then I got to a sort of gray layer, drill through that until you get to the second copper layer. This is really important. You can really royally mess this up. So I went through the top black, and I went through that first copper layer, and then I went through the second layer, and then till I got to the third copper layer. That's when I slowed down to get really, really precise. And then I'm not even going to touch this. And then I want to stop just above that layer. I don't want to go any deeper than that. So then you have to check to make sure the entire area of the apple is completely gone. It's okay for you to still have the leaf there. So let's kind of show you what that looks like. The leaf part, that's not part of it. It's just the apple. You have to get that apple completely gone. And if you do that, then that will be your cue that you have removed the entire portion of the processor where the iCloud information is stored. So now this device will no longer have an iCloud lock. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I thought, I was incredibly skeptical. So I tried it, and since then this is absolutely 110% working please bro solution, which I'm not a fan of, but every now and then. I guess I was just kind of annoyed today. This wasn't supposed to be an iCloud lock job at all. All right, so let's finish that back up. So now we are going to put this board back in the phone. And we will boot it to recovery mode. Restore it again. So you have to do a second restore. You have to do a full restore once that piece is gone. And then hopefully it will boot up and be iCloud unlocked. All right, so I'm going to boot this phone. All right, so this is just sort of loosely installed in my test housing with no screws and stuff in it. So I'm going to boot it in recovery mode because I have to do the restore again. You can do this either from DFU or recovery mode. It doesn't have to be DFU mode. So I missed bringing this up in DFU mode, so I'm going to do a hard reset to bring it up in DFU mode again. So I'm going to keep that home button held down. I was a little late pushing that home button. All right, and then I'm just going to boot it holding the home button so it'll go to recovery mode. All right, and then we will do the restore. All right, so we'll do the restore and update. So same phone, same serial number as before. And we will wait for that. I don't want to make a cut in the video so that we can be sure that this is totally legit 100%. So what's going on with you guys today? It's weird to not, this is not a live stream, this is a video. These are really, really great. I got the idea for this, getting these tools, when I actually went to the dentist, and I'm sitting there, and I remember saying to the dentist, like, your face is looking at my dental x-rays the same way that I look at a saltwater board. And he's just like, pretty much. Great. And we started talking about tools, like what do you do to like clean off like a crown or somebody's dentures or something. You got like a fancy ultrasonic machine. And the dentist has a lot of micro tools, that are really cool. So he was telling me about this sort of hand tool that is powered by a compressor that is his drill, and then he uses these super tiny dental bits. And I was like, man, this would be great for anytime you have really tight clearance and you got to clear a shorted cap or something like that. So I thought, we got to get some of that. I was asking about, like, how do you get, they have like UV curable adhesive and all kinds of cool stuff. So this is just restoring. So I looked on eBay for some used dental stuff. But then we ended up just finding these little bits, and I really like them. This is really the only application that I use that for. So I was surprised. The first time I heard about this method, I was like, that sounds like bullshit. And then I didn't try it until I saw 2 or 3 boards that came in for backlight failure or something like that. And then when I took off the shield, there was I could see the little crater from drilling out the little apple. And there's a lot of cool things that you can do. It turns out just that not all of that top layer SD-RAM is necessary. So you can drill out chunks of it and get down to the die of the CPU and run jumpers. And there's some folks that are doing that to solve a couple of different problems. And I'm a fan now. I'm gonna try one of those problems the next time I see like a error 14 phone that comes in that is missing continuity between pad under the CPU and some resistors by the NAND that it goes to. All right, so hopefully this will boot up. Wakey, wakey. Where's my Diet Coke? Well, you guys can't see my my shrine. Here's my shrine. I still have my walker shrine. The walker is turning out to be super useful. I have my reballing supplies in here now, and I've got a big line of I don't think you can see it. Well, I can move it because it's a walker. Look closer. Bunch of freeze sprays. So this is turning out cool. I have my little bamboo plant that Jean pretty much killed, and I have my things that I invoiced just a little bit ago. My sort of things I want to take a look at a second time. I've collected a bunch of iPhone 5s I need to do. So the reballing supplies just being so next to me, like I have not had, I've done a lot more reballing than I normally do just because they're right there and normally they're not. All right, let's see if we can get this finished so that we can get out of here. Alrighty. Okay, and it is finishing up, and it's done. All right, so now this time we can click over and check out iTunes, and iTunes says screen. Why can't I do that? It doesn't let me show the screen. Oh, it's got a message. Welcome to your new phone. Yay! An update to the carrier. No. Look, welcome to your new phone. Hooray! So I'm going to disconnect this. Disconnect sound. Reconnect it. All right, so welcome to your new phone. So now I can just click through setup, and we can kind of do this together. Choose Wi-Fi. iPad Rehab Public. And hopefully it will not go to the iCloud lock because that should be done. Set up Touch ID later. Set it up later. Skip passcode. Don't have an Apple ID. Set up later. Agree. Don't send. Choose a view. Fine. Get started. Yay! And now we have a phone. Carrier settings updated. Thank you. I think I just told you not to update carrier settings. All right, so now we have a phone that is working, activated, ready to go, and that is how you clear the iCloud lock. Easy as that. Easy as pie. Who knew? That's all I have for you today, and I really hope that all of you guys have a really happy holiday today.